Okay, let's just hope this works. Esperemos que funcione bien esto. Era la mayor ofensa entre las Bisayas ser llamado aswang, porque cualquiera que fuera llamado o acusado de serlo fue señalado y nadie quería casar a su hija con un hombre así, o a su hijo con una mujer sospechosa de ser una bruja. Y a veces tal llamado terminaba en una demanda judicial si el insultado era un director. So it was the greatest insult among the Bisayas to be called an aswang, because anybody who was called an aswang was pointed out, and nobody wanted to marry their children with such a person, whether it was a man or a woman suspected of being a bruja. And sometimes being called an aswang or a brujo resulted in them filing suit against you, especially if you were an important person in the town, a director. Los esclavos tampoco toleraban que sus amos los llamaran así, aunque daban menos importancia a otros insultos. Slaves did not like for their slave owner to call them an aswang or a brujo, although they didn't care so much about other insults. Y eso se debía a que se creía que ser aswang se transmitía a través de la sangre. Si uno tenía un padre que era aswang, o a través de la asociación, si uno se casaba con uno o con una. And this is because it was believed that to be an aswang was transmitted through the bloodline. If you had a father or a mother who was an aswang, or through association, by association, if you married one. Now, people said that the aswangs would fly at night thanks to a pair of bat's wings that grew out of their armpits. But Padre Alzina said that that couldn't be true because no such thing had ever been seen in anyone. La gente decía que los aswang volaban de noche gracias a un par de alas de murciélago que tenían en las axilas, lo que Padre Alzina decía no podía ser cierto, ya que nunca se había visto algo así en nadie. Others said that a bird was born out of their entrails and made them fly. And others said that they could fly because a spell was cast and they could fly without wings. Otros dijeron que un pájaro nació en sus entrañas y los hizo volar. Y otros dijeron que volaron gracias a un hechizo y que volaron sin alas. That they ate people, whether alive or dead. And if the victim was alive, they only ate the liver, without leaving a trace that they had removed it, and that the person suffered terrible pain until they died. Que comían hombres vivos y muertos, pero que en el caso de una víctima viva, solo comían su hígado, sin dejar rastro alguno de habérselo quitado. And that if the victim was a dead body, they ate all the flesh. And that they would dig up the dead to eat them. Y que si la víctima era un cadáver, se comía toda su carne, y que desenterraron a los muertos para comérselos. And about this, they say 1,000 lies. This is a direct quote. That they do not prove. They say that they suck the blood of children, as they also say in Spain. And for this reason, in some places, they lock children, small children in, or either in the place where they sleep, or around a wall of thorns. And that 7 nights after a child is born, they build a fire so that the warlocks will flee or not go close to the child. Entonces, sobre esto dicen 1000 mentiras que no prueban. Dicen que chupan la sangre de los niños, como se dice también en España, y por eso en algunos lugares encierran a los niños pequeños, o al lugar donde duermen dentro de una valla de espinas, y 7 noches después del nacimiento de un niño, hacen un fuego, para que los brujos huyan y no lleguen a ellos. It's also said that they have an herb called pagunlipun. We've already spoken about this, and that they become invisible because of this herb. Se dice que tienen esa hierba pagunlipun de la que ya hablamos y que se hacen invisibles con ella. That they convert themselves into crocodiles and warthogs and serpents and other animals to kill and harm those who persecute them. And there have been several cases of accusations related to this and events that haven't been proven. Que se convierten en caimanes, jabalíes, serpientes y otros animales para matar y hacer daño a quienes los persiguen. Y ha habido varios casos de acusaciones relacionadas con esto y eventos que no habían sido probados. And in this way they say 1,000 things that are meaningless, and they make unfounded accusations that they don't prove, nor can they prove, even though they take them as true. Y de esta manera dicen 1000 cosas sin sentido y hacen declaraciones infundadas que no prueban ni pueden probar, aunque las tomen como ciertas. Here is Padre Alzina's testimony. While I was in one of the large cities in these islands, one night we heard a big noise in the church. The boys who lived in the parish house were frightened to death, and they hid all together in a corner. Mientras estaba en una de las ciudades más grandes de estas islas, una noche oímos un gran ruido en la iglesia. Los chicos que vivían en la casa se escondieron del miedo en un rincón, todos juntos. In the town, the same thing happened in all of the houses where there were people. En el pueblo pasó lo mismo en todas las casas donde había gente. I gave it no importance, even though I heard it, because often you hear noises in the church, animals that go in and get locked in, dogs that get locked in and they run around 1,000 times and howl, etc. No le di ninguna importancia, aunque lo escuché. Muchas veces se oyen ruidos de causas bastante absurdas de animales que a menudo entran en la iglesia si no cierran bien la puerta, o de perros que se encierran y luego corren alrededor 1000 veces y aúllan, etc. Morning came, and the boys in the parish house didn't dare to go down to the church to pray because of their fear. Cuando llegó la mañana, los muchachos de la casa parroquial no se atrevieron a bajar a la iglesia a rezar, como siempre lo hacen por el miedo que les había invadido a la noche anterior. It dawned, and when it was already daylight, the sacristan went to open the church to prepare Mass, and he came back. And he didn't dare go inside the church because he saw drops of blood that were still wet on the wall and the footprints of man. Amaneció, y cuando ya era de día, el sacristán fue a abrir la iglesia para preparar la misa y volvió desanimado antes de entrar, porque vio gotas de sangre que aún estaban frescas y en el dindín o pared las huellas de un hombre. He told me this, and I went downstairs, where people had already arrived from the town. The alcalde fiscal, who was a very sensible native, he was a director, with other men, because none of the women dared to go to the church to hear Mass. And all of us saw the footprints, which were of a good size. And since it was rainy season, they were clearly marked with mud, and the higher that the footprints went, the less clear the footprints were. They kind of got all not so clear. Entonces, me lo informó y bajé allí, donde ya había llegado desde el pueblo el alcalde fiscal, un nativo de mucha sensatez y director, con otros hombres, porque ninguna de las mujeres se atrevía a ir a la iglesia a misa, y todos vimos las huellas, que eran de buen tamaño, que como era época de lluvias estaban claramente marcadas en barro, y cuanto más altas se levantaban, menos claras se volvían las huellas. The footprints started from the ground, and they went up to the wall, which here they call bunk bunk or dindin. And the footprints that were inside on the other side of the wall, the toes were pointing down, whereas the footprints on the outside of the wall, the toes were pointing up. Okay. Las huellas partían del suelo y ascendían a lo largo de la pared, que aquí llaman bunk bunk o ding ding. Los de adentro no tanto, con los dedos de los pies apuntando hacia abajo, y los de la pared exterior apuntando hacia arriba. And so it seemed that a man had walked up outside and walked down inside, though there was no signal that he would have left the church, and if he had entered, he must have left through some other way. De tal manera que parecía que un hombre subía por fuera y bajaba por dentro, aunque no había señal de que hubiera salido y sí de que hubiera entrado. Debía haber salido por otro camino. The black drops of blood, as if they were from some dead creature, there weren't many of them, were still wet. We didn't find any tomb that had been dug up or disturbed. Las negras gotas de sangre, como si fueran de una cosa muerta, no eran muchas, aunque todavía húmedas. No encontramos ninguna tumba que hubiera sido desenterrada o perturbada. Neither did we see any signal that a grave had been opened where a person might have been buried the day before, nor did we see any trace of blood near the grave, but only outside the church, near the door, and by the place where the footprints were found. No hubo ninguna señal de que se hubiera abierto la tumba donde un hombre había sido enterrado el día anterior, ni ningún rastro de sangre cerca de ella, sino solo fuera de la iglesia, cerca de la puerta y del lugar donde estaban las huellas. Yeah, there had been a grave where a man had been buried the day before. That was the grave that they looked at, and there was no sign that it had been dug up, no blood anywhere around. Everyone said that it was a warlock, and that he had gone to feed on a dead body. Todos dijeron que era un hechicero que se había ido a alimentarse de un cadáver. I don't know if it was true or not. I cannot be sure. But naturally, no man could have walked up nor walked down on the wall as if he were walking on flat ground. And the footprints were those of a man who rested his weight completely on his foot, without the foot getting lengthened or being raised, as if he were walking normally upwards and on a place that was so dangerous. No sé si era cierto o no, y no puedo asegurarlo. Sí, naturalmente, un hombre no podría haber subido ni bajado por una pared como si estuviera caminando sobre un terreno plano. Y las huellas eran las de un hombre que descansaba su peso completamente sobre sus pies, sin ser borroso o alargado, como tenían que serlo si hubiera estado caminando normalmente hacia arriba y en un lugar tan peligroso. I had them wash the blood away to take away their disgust and horror. Hice que lavaran la sangre para quitarles el asco y el horror. We left the footprints intact, and they were there for many months, to the amazement of everyone who saw them, and even people from other towns. They came to see them after the news had been spread, and time finally erased them, and the mud fell where it had been on the planks of wood on the wall. And let's see. Well, let's leave it there. Dejamos las huellas intactas y estuvieron allí durante muchos meses para asombro de todos los que las vieron. Incluso de otros pueblos la gente vino a verlas después de que la noticia se extendió y el tiempo las borró. El barro cayó que había quedado en las tablas de la pared y que les dio la forma de la palma de un pie. And so Father Alzina was notified of a similar case in another place, and he went to see the footprints. Padre Alzina fue notificado de un caso similar y fue a ver las huellas. In another town that had more fame, that was more famous for being a place where brujos had lived in old times, they showed me another ding-ding, or wall of the church, where they said that many brujos, big and small, had walked up, and their footprints were big and small. En otro pueblo que tenía más fama de haber sido un lugar donde había brujos en los viejos tiempos, me mostraron otro dindín o muro de la iglesia donde decían que muchos brujos grandes y pequeños habían subido y sus huellas grandes y pequeñas. When I arrived there, some days had passed, and it seems to me that some of the footprints were still visible, especially the small ones that seemed to be those of a little boy about 8 years old, and some larger footprints. Cuando llegué habían pasado los días y me parece que algunas de las huellas todavía eran visibles, especialmente las pequeñas, que parecían ser de las de un niño de 8 años, más o menos, y unas cuantas huellas más grandes. And they added that, in fact, the brujos had dug up a cadaver and they had taken it away to eat it. Y agregaron que de hecho los brujos habían desenterrado un cadáver y se lo habían llevado para comer. I couldn't investigate the truth, nor was I able to reach any conclusion, because people who were said to have been, involved, denied it, absolutely. And you never catch anyone in fraganti with their hands in the masa, in the bread. And so it's difficult to investigate. And even those who give testimony are afraid that they might be eaten. And so everything remains in doubt. No pude averiguar la verdad ni llegar a ninguna conclusión, porque las personas a las que se les imputaba la negaron resueltamente, y nunca se atrapa a nadie en infraganti con las manos en la masa, por lo que es difícil de investigar, e incluso los que dan testimonio tienen miedo de que se los coman, o por lo que todo se deja siempre en duda. And that is the story that Padre Alzina tells us about the aswangs and the onglos and the brujos. There are other parts where he talks about onglos, these giants that kidnap children, but we'll leave it here for now. And I hope it's been very interesting for you. I love this story. I think it's fantastic. Bueno, lo voy a dejar hasta aquí. Espero que hayan disfrutado la historia que cuenta Padre Alzina sobre los vampiros y los brujos, brujas y los onglos. En otra parte él habla de los onglos y estos gigantes que raptaban a niños, pero no lo voy a leer por ahora. Muchas gracias por su atención y hasta el próximo. Chao.